What does it take to turn a blood brother into your deadliest enemy? For the leader of an elite bodyguard unit, the answer came not with a gunshot, but with a silent bottle of pills, deadly enough to shatter everything on his wedding night. He was the leader of an elite bodyguard unit, and his brother, his most trusted man, until a wedding night murder turned them into rivals. Now, as one hunts the other, a dark conspiracy reveals that the real enemy has been hiding in plain sight. This is the story of how a sacred bond, forged in the fires of a brutal childhood, was completely shattered by a betrayal no one saw coming. It's a hunt for a brother that uncovered a conspiracy so dark, it threatened to burn their entire world to the ground. In the glittering criminal underworld of Malaysia, loyalty is a currency worth more than cash, and a whole lot harder to keep. Down here, they call it brotherhood, a bond forged in fire, supposed to be stronger than steel. But here's the thing about steel, it can be broken. For Arif and Gaz, loyalty isn't just a rule, it's the very air they breathe, the foundation of their entire lives. Arif was the backbone, the skilled, principled bodyguard who saw the world in black and white. Gaz was the leader, Arif's childhood blood brother, and the chosen successor to Dato' Zul, a powerful and ruthless crime lord. Their bond was absolute, a pact sealed in hardship, long before they entered a world of power and danger. They weren't just friends, they were like two pillars, holding up the same roof, looking out for each other, since their days of poverty and neglect. But what happens when the one person you trust most is the one holding the gun pointed at your back? To really get the sting of this betrayal, you have to understand the bond. Arif and Gaz weren't born into the same family, but their brotherhood was more real than blood. Their story began in the dirt of a shared traumatic childhood. Arif grew up with a neglectful father and a reckless older brother, Jackie, whose schemes brought nothing but misery. He never knew what family love felt like. Nearby, a young Gaz was fighting his own battles, struggling to provide for his mother and pay off her debts. One day, Arif took a brutal beating from his own father to protect a secret for Gaz. In that moment of sacrifice, Gaz saw a brother he never had. They made a pact, a blood oath, swearing to be brothers forever. As they grew up, it was Gaz who offered Arif a lifeline. He brought him into the Tujuh Naga, a powerful crime organization, hiding behind the front of an elite bodyguard service called Silent Guard. For Arif, this was a chance to escape a toxic past. It was like stepping out of a storm and into a fortress his brother had built. Under the mentorship of the formidable Dato' Zul, they thrived. If Gaz was the charismatic sail, catching the winds of ambition, Arif was the anchor, keeping them steady and true. Dato' Zul, the leader of the Naga organization, saw a worthy successor in Gaz. Arif, quieter and more methodical, became Gaz's most trusted man. Together, they led the Silent Guard, a team of sworn brothers who shared a bond of life and death. They were a family forged in fire. Gaz was not only their leader, but also Dato' Zul's future son-in-law, engaged to his daughter, Sheila. For Arif and Gaz, life seemed perfect. They'd escaped their past and built a kingdom on their unbreakable camaraderie. But in their world, perfection is just an illusion, and it's about to be shattered. The first crack in their perfect world wasn't a gunshot, but a moral crisis. One of their most loyal team members, a Bang Sham, was forced to kill a rival gangster to protect an innocent woman. This act drew the anger of Boss Sam, another powerful crime figure, who demanded justice. The law of their world was simple: a life for a life. To keep the peace and prove his strength, Dato' Zul gave Gaz a brutal test: execute a Bang Sham. The decision tormented Gaz, catching him between two raging currents: his duty to the Naga and his love for Sheila, who begged him to leave the life of violence behind. But Gaz felt bound by his duty. With a heavy heart, he carried out the sentence, executing a man he considered a brother. The act sent a tremor through the Silent Guard. For Arif, it was a chilling confirmation of a Bang Sham's last words. In the end, they were all just puppets on a string for the powerful. This seed of doubt was about to grow into a forest of betrayal. The night of Gaz and Sheila's wedding arrived, a massive celebration, meant to cement Gaz's position as heir to the Naga Empire. But under the celebration, a dark cloud lingered. Later that night, the party turned into a nightmare. Sheila was found dead in her bridal suite. The official cause, a drug overdose. And the evidence was damning. CCTV footage showed Arif, the last person to enter her room. He was seen giving Sheila what was alleged to be the fatal drugs. Gaz's world imploded. The love of his life was gone, and the man he trusted above all others was the prime suspect. For Gaz, the betrayal was like looking at a trusted map, only to find the landscape had been a lie all along. As chaos erupted, Arif is seized and brutally interrogated for confession. Gaz, blinded by a grief so deep, saw nothing but Arif's betrayal. The bond forged in pain and sacrifice was instantly burned to ashes. But the gods of the underworld were on his side. As he thought Gaz was going to kill another brother, a third party enters the frame. A man in mask. Apparently, his framers are not satisfied. They want to silence him forever. But Arif is a skilled fighter. A man trained in the Tuju Naga overpowers him and used the opportunity to flee. For Gaz, this is a confirmation of guilt. The hunt was on. Arif wasn't just a suspect. He was a traitor, and his blood brother had just become his most vicious enemy. Arif goes to his nurse friend, Mira, the one who gave him the pills. She assures him the drugs were clean. Arif remembers bumping into a figure fleeing Sheila's room in disguise. His estranged biological brother, Jackie. Could he be involved in this? Arif, now a fugitive, hunted by the very men he once called brothers, led by a man whose pain had twisted into pure vengeance. Gaz no longer saw the brother who had sacrificed for him, only the monster who had taken everything. Alone and on the run, Arif was forced to turn to the last person he ever wanted to see. The reunion was tense, thick with years of resentment. Their fragile alliance was like two mismatched gears grinding together, forced to turn in the same direction by a shared goal. Jackie, now a private investigator, confessed he'd been hired by Daniel, Sheila's jealous ex-boyfriend, to dig up dirt on her for dumping him for Gaz and humiliating him. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time and had accidentally captured her murder on a hidden camera. The video that could clear Arif's name was on a drive, but Daniel double-crossed him and now wants to sell it to the highest bidder. The two brothers, separated by a lifetime of different choices, were now bound by one mission: find Daniel and get that video before Gaz found Arif. Their journey was a frantic chase through the city's underbelly. They were two sides of the same coin, Jackie with his street smarts and Arif with his tactical skill. Meanwhile, Gaz was closing in, using all of the Naga's resources to track Arif down. His rage was a firestorm, leaving destruction in his wake. For Arif, the suffering was twofold: the constant danger of being hunted, and the agony of being pursued by the man he still, in his heart, considered his brother. The hunt reached its explosive climax at a high-end club owned by Daniel. Arif and Jackie tracked him there, desperate to get the video, but they weren't the only ones. The masked man gets to Daniel first and takes him out, but Arif stops him before he can escape with the drive. In their brutal fight, Jackie grabs the drive and bolts. Once again, Arif manages to neutralize him. Then comes the shock. He rips off the mask. It's Pablo, a trusted member of the Nara. Pablo uses Arif's momentary confusion to break free. Jackie crashes into Gaz at the door. Still unaware of the deadly plot, Gaz beats Jackie senseless, until Arif appears, gun in hand, aiming straight at him. He stood face to face with his blood brother, but the eyes staring back were those of a stranger, filled with cold, murderous rage. With no option, Arif attacked. The two men who had trained together, fought side by side, and protected each other for years, were now locked in a brutal fight to the death. It was a tragic dance of violence, every move a painful memory of their shared past. Gaz, the superior fighter, pinned Arif to the ground. Beaten and broken, Arif looked up at the man who was once his world and told him to just kill him. But just as Gaz was about to deliver the final blow, The club's giant video screens flickered to life. Jackie had hijacked the system. The grainy footage showed Sheila in her room, not with Arif, but with 2 other people, using a taser on her, before injecting a substance into her foot. The real cause of death. The masterminds were revealed. Fadlan, Dato Zul's adopted son, and his enforcer, Pablo. The truth hit Gaz like a bucket of ice water, extinguishing the fire of his rage. He had been a pawn. Back at the Nara headquarters, the police reveals that the CCTV footage had been tampered with. Only 2 people had the security codes to alter it: Gaz and Fadlan. Dato Zul confronts Fadlan, his adopted son. Fadlan's entire life had been like a slow-burning fuse, patiently waiting for this moment. He was the son of a Naga member, executed by Dato Zul 20 years ago. Fadlan's hatred grew when Dato Zul chose Gaz, an outsider, as his successor. With his plan exposed, Fadlan's loyalists turned their weapons on Dato Zul and his men. Fadlan executed the shocked Dato Zul. The enraged Gaz arrived just in time to watch his boss and father-in-law burn. Amid the carnage, Gaz and Arif fought their way out together. Escaping into the night, their brotherhood, broken by a lie, was reforged in the fire of a shared enemy. The balance of power had violently shifted. Fadlan, now in control, moved to eliminate the one man that could challenge his reign. He tortures the few loyalists, a bid to find Gaz, eliminates him, and cement his position, not just within the Nara, but the entire underworld. After recovering, Gaz and Arif clash over how to deal with Fadlan. Arif insists on calling the police, but Gaz growls that it's not the Nara way. A life for a life, he says, not police cells. Ignoring him, Arif calls the cops anyway. Furious, Gaz storms off to pursue his own brand of justice. Arif hands the drive to the police, but it turns out to be a deadly mistake. Fadlan launches a brazen attack right under police protection. In the chaos, Jackie is captured, and unbeknownst to anyone, in a remote fishing village, Abang Sham, the man everyone thought Gaz had killed, was still alive. Gaz had spared him, a secret act of mercy that was about to change everything. Fadlan used the captured Jackie as bait for Arif, but his real target is Gaz. Arif's plan to outsmart them failed, and he found himself in Fadlan's clutches. Just as Fadlan began his brutal interrogation, a car came crashing through the warehouse wall. Gaz had arrived, with the secretly spared Abang Sham, who had rallied a few remaining loyalists. The final battle began, while Gaz faced off against Fadlan, a former boxing champion. Arif took on the brutish Pablo. Their shared training kicked in, and the brothers fought with a synchronized fury. Arif quickly dispatched Pablo, but not before he fatally injured Jackie, and joined Gaz to double-team the new kingpin. Together, they were unstoppable. In a brutal, fiery conclusion, they defeated Fadlan, ending his bloody reign. As the warehouse burned, Arif saw Gaz was injured and refused to leave him behind. He pulled his blood brother from the flames, proving that their bond, though cracked, was ultimately unbreakable. In the aftermath, the criminal world they knew was in ashes. But for Arif and Gaz, there was no going back. Justice had been served, but the cost was immense. Their family of sworn brothers was gone. Their leader, dead, and the innocence of their bond was lost forever. The story closes on a bittersweet note. Arif has left the life of crime, finding peace with his true family. Gaz, fulfilling Sheila's last wish, passed leadership to Abang Sham, and set off to find his long-lost mother. Their paths diverged, each walking toward a new future. They learned the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes, true victory isn't about standing on a mountain of defeated enemies, but finding the path that leads away from the battlefield entirely. The story of Arif and Gaz is a powerful reminder that even the strongest bonds can be tested. If you were hooked by this story of loyalty, revenge, and redemption, make sure to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories like this. Thanks for watching.